want to say that they were able to insulate the walls for about $2,000. From an insulating standpoint, $2,000 is pretty cheap, but from a retrofit insulation, I felt like that was a very fair price. And just today, we talked about it, and of course, it got cold the last couple nights, and temperatures starting to bounce back to cooler weather, in which I expected. But they told me that it didn't get below mid 60s or so, and that really solved a big problem that they didn't even know they had or why they had it, and it was all because they didn't have, the gas heat would have given them a hotter punch when the heat kicked on, but they had that electric heat and no insulation, so that was the perfect recipe for not
Mhm.
very comfortable inside the house.
And if your house is cold in the winter, it's going to be hot in the summer because weatherization and insulation, the whole point is when you want to be cool inside, keep that heat out and vice versa. So they were maybe going to have a month of good weather and then all of a sudden it would be now it's too hot at night. It's getting up to 78, 80 degrees and the AC is going to be running full time, nonstop and never catching up.
Yep. Agreed. They do have a lot of mature shade trees, so maybe that helped out. I think their bigger problem was in the winter, but either way, I think that they just made a big improvement for not very much money.
Yeah, fantastic. It just shows you how important weatherization is. And in the future, we'll talk about some upgrades you can do to your house. I'm going to be doing some renovations. Well, my wife and I, we're going to start doing some renovations to our house. And there's lots of little things that you find out as you go through the process and have someone like Donnie, who's a contractor who knows what to look for. And that, I guess, when you're out working on a house and you see a weatherization issue, it reminds you how important it is to take care of your house and get it weatherized. And that's kind of like the topic of the show today that we're going to focus on.
Yep, exactly. And important point to mention that weatherization and insulation go hand in hand, but they are not the same. Weatherization is more like sealing all the cracks, and I say that because there's two types of heat transfer. Two types that we'll talk about today, and that's conductive and convective. And you always hear about a convection oven. Same concept with convective. Basically the convective is heat transfer from air pressure. So your house, whether it's a mild breeze or a strong wind, it always has a pressure on it, and that pressure is going to push air either into your house, or if it has a clear path, it's going to push the conditioned air out of your house at
Hmm.
a much faster rate. And insulation does the opposite. The south face of your house has a lot of sun on it for 6, 8, 10 hours a day. That hot surface is going to heat up. It's going to transfer from the brick or the siding to the plywood, that to the studs, that to the drywall, and that heats your house up at a much slower rate than the convective. But the difference between the two is weatherization controls the convective heat transfer and insulation controls the conductive.